going on, guys? This is Carl, the RacerRed channel, out here on my YZF R1, the 1000cc beast. It's a beautiful February 13th day. The sun is out, it's in the 40s, and the roads are dry. It goes so fast. It's got so much power. Oh, it's a beautiful thing. As we get into springtime, a lot of people are going to be riding. A lot of new people are going to start riding. And you have to understand that, you know, it's not all about looks. Street biking has a tendency to bring out a lot of riders who want to look a certain way. And dirt biking has the opposite effect. Dirt biking is usually, for the most part, all about the enthusiast, although there are people who drive around with motorcycles in their truck and they never actually ride them other than driving to a parking lot just as a social event type thing. But it's way less common in the dirt bike world. I've just noticed that a lot of street bikers don't truly know how to ride their bike. And a lot of them don't have much interest in learning how. They just buy a super cool looking gear, a super cool looking bike, a cool sounding bike, and they can kind of fake it. They can kind of fake the fact that they don't know what they're talking about or know how to ride, and they go out and they just try to look really cool. The only reason I'm against that is because you're gonna get killed. And that's just being blatant about what I think. It's definitely necessary for you to hear that, because you will get killed on the street if you don't know what you're doing. And that's not necessarily true if you don't try to do anything crazy like go fast, but it absolutely is true if you try to go fast and you don't know what you're doing. So let's rewind back to when I got my first Super Sport, which is a GSXR 1000. Before that, I actually had a YZF 600, which was more of a sport touring bike, but the main part was when I had the GSXR. I got that bike when I was 16 years old, and I was at the peak of motocrossing right then. I just moved up to the intermediate class. I won the junior championship. So I went through the C class, the B class. I was then in the A class in motocross, and I was getting really, really good. I wasn't even racing for the most of that year. I was just going out and I was practicing many times a week, and I got very, very fast. Well, at that point, all of the people around me quit riding. So I didn't have anybody to ride with, so I was like, well, I'm not going to keep racing and riding. It's time to kind of transition. I had to get a job at that point. I started into education and all of the stuff that adults have to do at that time. But I wasn't really an adult. So what I did was I transferred to the street because I had a lot of easy access into the street crowd. And I was a really good motocross racer, but going from that into the street, I started street racing immediately. And I found out that because I was really good on motocross, I went to a new world, which was the world of the goons. And really, the entire street bike world is basically the world of the goons. You have a very, very small percentage that aren't, but for the most part, they've never ridden a dirt bike. They don't know how to ride a dirt bike. They don't have the skills to adapt to all the different situations that a dirt bike puts you into. And so being on a street bike was like, I was a rock star once I got onto a street bike that was 1,000 cc's and I entered into the street bike world. I was a rock star, and I had a alter ego. I ran from the police constantly. I went by the name RacerRed 186, dressed all in black. Started into a lot of bad stuff, which is not to say I was doing anything besides street racing. I was pretty much just doing that, and I just thought I was really cool, and I was trying to control how people thought of me, what people thought of me. I was controlling my image, and I wanted this dark image. I wanted people to think I was cool. It's the same reason everybody gets skull tattoos all over their skin. I mean, it's just so surface level. But it's whatever. Thankfully, I never did get skull tattoos all over. But I ran into some situations that would have absolutely killed me if I wasn't the level of rider I was. There was one situation where I was going like 70 miles an hour in a 30, and a semi pulled out of nowhere. He pulled off of one of the side roads, which was more of an alley. It was dirt. I don't know what he was doing back there, but he must have been hauling something to one of the houses back in there. But he was covering the entire road as I came around a corner, and I had to bring the bike upright, slam on the brakes. I started sliding into him. I realized I was going to hit him going about 50, and so I leaned all the way the opposite direction into the dirt and got around him, and dirt bike skills kicked in, got back on the road, and that was a close call, and I've had many of those. And I've even had some of those where I'm not being an idiot. So, street biking is a really skilled sport. And it goes back to my side-by-side argument in one of my earlier videos. It's accessible by many because it's so easy. You can hop on, you push the button, you stick to the pavement so well that you really don't understand how to read the terrain. You don't need to for the most part. But once you need to, you really need to. And the thing is, most people don't. And they don't know how the bike responds when you hit gravel. So they just lean it over in a corner right over the top of gravel and think everything's going to be fine. And it's not going to be fine, trust me. And so there's a real danger to riding street bikes. A lot of people do just get on, push the button. They learn the basics of how to ride. And then they're like, oh, I'm a pro. I'm going to get me a 600cc sport bike. Go really fast everywhere. I'm going to dress all in black and look really cool. It's a dumb idea, dude. Dumb idea. And it's not like dirt biking is a sport where you're going to get a lot of chicks. Like, I understand why people are doing that on the street, because you can ride around downtown, you can ride around everywhere, just as I was when I was 17, 18 years old. That's what I was doing. And it worked. But the only reason I survived it was because I was an excellent rider. Not to toot my own horn, I'm just saying I was really dumb, don't get me wrong, but I also was a really good rider. If you are really dumb and you're not a good rider, you guys just can't understand how many people I've seen not make it out of that each year. There's a very high probability that you won't make it. And, you know, if you're not a very good rider, that's okay, but go the speed limit and learn the slow way. I definitely have seen a lot of crashes. I've told this story before, but, you know, back when I was working in a box store, a lot of my friends that year got 600 sport bikes, and every single one of them crashed it. Some of them crashed multiple times in that same year. Carl Cycles reported that 85% of their 600cc sport bikes were crashed within 1 year. So it's It's no joke. Like, literally, everybody is crashing their sport bikes, and that's why you can't find these things. I mean, this is an 08 and it's super clean. You just can hardly find them because people ride in these kind of conditions. I mean, look at all this dirt on the ground. A lot of people just turn the bike over, start leaning right into that dirt and go flying into that field over there instead of rotating the bike upright, getting your center of gravity over the bike. There's a lot that goes into this stuff, especially when you start having to read your terrain. And granted, a lot of people were getting drunk back in the day that I'm talking about, when all my friends were getting sport bikes. A lot of them were getting drunk and just wrecking in their driveways and parking lots and trying to do wheelies. One kid tried to do a wheelie. He was determined to learn how to do it, and he was just a beginner. He didn't learn the slow way, and he just crashed it like 3 times and demolished his brand new bike. It was pretty crazy to watch all of it unfold. And that's just a commonality in today's society, or a society in general. And it's natural for us to want to control our image and look cool, and that's what everybody is driving towards, I should say. And I would kind of put out there that it doesn't matter what people think of you. And if you bring on that mentality, you're going to start having a lot more fun. And don't worry about what people think of you so much. And granted, I like my bike to look beautiful. This is the best looking bike in my opinion. That's one of the reasons I bought it. And I wear a lot of gear that looks cool too. Like, there's an element of it, but it's not my entire reasoning for going for a ride. Riding dirt bikes, like I said, even with me making videos, I think about 2% of my audience is female. Dirt biking has no effect in that realm. Unless you can find the girl who rides, dirt biking has absolutely no benefit in your love life. And nobody thinks you're cool because you ride a dirt bike either. Nobody sees you, essentially, and girls don't watch you even on videos. So, like, if you went on YouTube, nobody would even watch it was a girl. You'd have all dudes watching you. That's what dirt biking is about, and it kind of forces you into learning a, like, really skilled sport. Street biking is on the other side of the spectrum, where you can just look really cool and that's it. And then you can try to show off, but there's a time when you're going to need skill, and that time is coming up soon, guys. In the summertime, high traffic areas, if you do any city riding whatsoever, you're going to need skill. And I highly recommend you just, if you're on a street bike, you go the speed limit, understand your skill level, and learn advanced riding either through dirt biking, and if you don't have a dirt bike, that's okay, but at least go slow on a street bike if you haven't experienced dirt biking. I've seen so many street bikes get on dirt bikes and they have no idea how to ride. Your skill on a dirt bike transfers to the street. Street bike skills do not transfer to the dirt, and there's a reason for that, because it doesn't take any skill. You learn how to read terrain on the dirt. And that's not to say a lot of street bike guys aren't skillful. I'm not saying that at all. Some of them take a really long time to learn and get their form just right and all that stuff, and I'm sure they're just fine. But for the most part, I'm talking about 99% of everybody on the street, they really just don't have the skill. They don't know what it takes, and they will not survive when skill is required. Anyways, guys, with that uplifting section of the video, I'm going to let you go. I'll catch you on the next video. Peace. See you guys. Yes, it's a clickbait title. And yes, you should watch this video. It's truly what you need, guys, if you want to go that route. Okay, bye. Alright guys, I just wanted to give some of my Patreon supporters a shout out. I really appreciate them. Yucky Don't Eat is my newest one. Daniel Roush, Brian Thomason, Mike Slater, Jason Froling, Jim Jolson Jr., Lance Darnell, Wade James, Kurt Kinghorn, Jared Bauer. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. You guys have helped a huge amount for my channel to grow and to keep making content, and you are appreciated.